When is the contest end date? The contest end date is in negative 53 minutes. It ended at noon EST today. We have all of our 36 submissions, and at 1 o'clock I will start going through them, and I will choose the greatest tank that has been made in Fish Game thus far, and they will be immortalized as a name within the game forever. Fish Game is a new video game where you can build fish tanks from scratch. You can choose your size, you can adjust the substrate, you can adjust basically everything about it, down from like the fish to the hardscaping to the softscaping of the game to the plantscaping, and I'm probably making up words in that regard, but you can adjust basically everything and build your own tank and find new items and such. And so I wanted to see how well my audience and also the people in general who play Fish Game could build a tank. Now, I here on the AVNJ channel do a contest often where people submit to me their real life fish tanks, and I will choose the best fish tank that someone submits to me. And people submit all sorts of amazing, like the things that people do with real tanks and keep fish in them is absolutely amazing to me. So I wanted to see what people could do with Fish Game with theoretically unlimited creativity, where you can adjust absolutely anything at will, and there are consequences, but not as dire consequences as doing so in real life. So I wanted to see what you guys could come up with. The Fish Game community as a whole has also been challenged. It's not just AVNJ viewers, though I hope the AVNJ viewers win the contest, but I'm not biased, I swear. We're going to go through. We have 36 submissions to go through. We'll go through one by one, check out the tanks. I'll do a rating out of 10, and then the one that's currently in the lead, I'll say that. So if I'm like, oh, this is the best one I've seen so far, until it gets, dethroned or so forth. First up, we have Mossa Gen 3. My tank is a deserty oasis with a cave, centerpiece, driftwood, and red sand. Okay, that is very beautiful. I would say it's a little on the crowded side for my taste. The tanks are really cool. I do like the red sand. I feel like the sand being all the way up to the halfway point of the tank isn't the best, but that's okay. The driftwood coming out of the water is also something I really like. I would have liked to see fish. I'm not sure, maybe your other screenshots have fish in them. It just seems to be different angles. I do really like the way that you're leaning the driftwood and the rocks into each other. I think that is really cool. Reminds me of the wood shelters people make in the woods. It is quite cool. Oh, there are fish. Okay, there are some fish in here. It is quite cool. I'm a fan of this tank. Oh, there's a video. I mean, it is a very big undertaking to make a tank like that. That's the best way that I can put it, is like, that is a lot of work to make something that big with that much stuff in it look good rather than like unorganized, right? So I'm going to give this one, we do have to set like a bar here. I think I would give this tank a 7. It did not amaze me. Yeah, if that was in real life, that exact thing was in real life, it's a 10. But that shows you the power of Fish Game, is that you can go crazy and make some amazing things. And I know there's some amazing submissions in here. So I'm going to go with a 7 for this one. It is in the lead for now, and who knows? Maybe it will somehow stick it out through the entire contest and win. All right, the second tank is by Riley. My first completed aquascape. I was inspired to join the aquascaping community in part by your channel, and I'm now studying ecology because of it. Woo! I was an ecology major, if you guys didn't know, so shout out ecology. I started as a marine science major, and then I realized that marine science wasn't quite what I wanted to do, and ended up in ecology and doing fish. Just wanted to throw a few things I found cool together and make a natural-looking tank with lots of plants, wood, and rocks. Houses 4 panda corridoras and a betta fish. All right. Okay. I like the sand. The red sand was quite cool for that tank, but this looks quite nice as well. I'm assuming there's a more zoomed in screenshot. Okay, the side views. The shadows make this a bit difficult to assess, but I do really like these plants all being in a row isn't my favorite, I would say. Like, I guess from the front, okay, so if this tank is against the wall and I'm looking at the back of it right now, I could understand from the front how that would be cool. Like, the background is just surrounded with vegetation. I could definitely see that being quite cool. But from that back perspective, I think it's not the best. I do like the way the sand is raised. Yes, I do like the loop. And from this perspective, I like it. I would actually want the vegetation a little bit thicker, because right now it kind of just looks like it's like layered along the back of the tank rather than forming some sort of vegetated background. I think a vegetated background is really cool. People will put like artificial black or white backgrounds behind tanks, and we may even see that today because I'm pretty sure that is in Fish Game. So people will put those backgrounds back there, but I always think they look a little on the tacky side in real life tanks. But what I do love is when people surround the entire outside with vegetation. I think that looks really cool. I'm going to give that one a 6 out of 10. I don't think it tops the first one. Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. Somewhere in the 6 range. I don't think it tops the first tank. I think the first tank is still in first right now. That first tank had a lot going on, but was very well ordered. Jadacris. I used to have a koi betta fish in a 5-gallon tank. It was a garden pond inspired scape. My cat ripped the lid off the tank and ate him. So this tank was a tribute to that. All right. We have a tribute to the tank that was eaten by a cat. All right. This is very pretty. I do love tanks. I am a sucker for, I'm a sucker for symmetry. So I really like tanks that have an open space in the middle. In fact, I kind of did that with my 55-gallon that I have next to me. I really like when like the fish have tons of hiding places, but they still have to like swim out in the open as they so choose to do. That is something I'm a big fan of. It's also very cool. Oh, the skull is being used as a cave. That's quite... I didn't even notice this. This is a skull that is dug into the sand. And this is like one of the amazing creative things you can do with Fish Game is repurposing objects, because turns out objects don't follow the laws of physics. So in real life, this skull would not be able to be hammered down into the baseboard through the bottom of the tank. But... because it's Fish Game, we can actually sort of clip the objects into each other. I think the vegetation on the surface is a little excessive. I do like the use of this plant here. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's quite cool overall. I like the vegetated side versus the hardwood side, and this in the middle. The tank doesn't exactly come together, if that makes sense, because everything's so separated. It doesn't feel like a complete idea. It feels like 3 separate tanks sort of next to each other. But I do like it. I will give it a 7. I think this is tied for first right now with a 7. I don't think it's better than the first tank, but I think it's better than the last one. All right, I like to go by Sunny D or Sunny. After the announcement, I was thinking of sending a reference of my betta so my mom's favorite of our fish would be in the game. But I would love koi, even though they're pond fish, but we have goldies and arowana, so why not, I guess. I am confused by that message, but okay. I've always wanted to make goldfish in a healthy large aquarium, something appealing for experienced fish keepers and also just the people that go out and let them die in bowls. I want to educate people in any way I can. My niece and nephew already got super excited by some pictures of this tank I made in the game and want to play, but they don't have a PC and live in another state from me, so far this is my favorite build. There's 4 goldies. One is a new baby because I wanted to see how small they were when I started the game and got them from PetSmart. I had them in a 40-gallon until I got enough upgrades to put them in a 230. Oh, that's a good point. I've actually never thought about that part of Fish Game. You can upgrade your tanks because you start with a limited amount of tank options, and then you can buy bigger and bigger tanks, and you can actually move the fish from one tank to another. Wow. Wow. Oh, I really love this. I love how this comes out of the water like this. It doesn't just feel like it's randomly coming out of the water. This feels like intentional in a very cool way. And this scaping underwater is insane.
Poggers.
This is so detailed. Thank you, A Shell in the Pit. This is so detailed underwater. Think of like each one of these stones had to be individually placed. Yeah, and the fact that it's not like full, there's like a very clear, nice open space over here. This is what I meant about that other tank feeling fragmented. The fact that like the plants are interwoven with the driftwood, are interwoven with the rocks. This looks like a textbook diagram. This is gorgeous. This is a beautiful tank. Wow, I'm impressed. I mean, just like, it feels random. Like everything is just sort of thrown together, but at the same time, it's like so clean and organized. Like they took all of the various objects that they had to play with and put them in together in a way that is visually appealing. I'm extremely impressed with that. Wow. Wow, look at, the out of water part is just as impressive as the in water part. It's so aesthetically appealing. Okay, thank you for that last picture. I will be docking 0.5 points because the last picture that they submitted is that. Okay, let's see. Well, I think that's a really good tank. I need to look at it again. That is extremely impressive. I mean, I haven't seen all of the submissions yet, so it's hard for me. This is obviously going to be in first for right now. But I haven't seen all the submissions yet, so it's hard for me to know whether this will be, you know, the most creative and impressive thing that I've seen. The sheer amount of detail here is incredible. But I think I'm going to go with a 9. I think this is a 9. This is, if this tank existed in real life, it would win worldwide competitions. Like, this tank is absolutely gorgeous. I do think we have the opportunity to be more creative in fish game. And so I am excited, and I hope someone breaks the expectation that I have and we can get something above a 9. But for now, this is in clear first place at a 9. All right, Gabe. It's pretty simple. It's a 15-gallon betta tank. The black substrate is more concentrated in the middle of the tank, and on that mound is driftwood, surrounded by plants, mainly bright green. Okay, my IRL tank is 10-gallon with black substrate and features bright green plants and red plants. Has one of those broken vase things like in the game. Okay, so Gabe modeled the tank mostly after their own tank. All right, makes sense. Sort of a sloping substrate towards the middle, some driftwood, pretty simple, some plants, and the broken vase with some plants growing out of it, which is cool. I always say, if for some reason you have an attraction to artificial decorations, which I never personally have exactly understood, I like driftwood, I like rocks, and I like plants. I don't like SpongeBob houses and so forth. So that's reasonable. But if you are going to have one of those sort of artificial things in there, I think having a plant grow out of it is a really good way to naturalize an artificial part of the tank. So to take something that looks out of place and looks like a tacky decoration in the tank and sort of have it be woven into the theme of the tank. Also, what? Oh, those are plants. Okay. I was very confused. Imagine if they had SpongeBob houses in the game. I think they might have copyright issues, but yes, you could make something very similar. I will say, I think in comparison to the other tanks, this tank is not quite as organized and detailed as the others. Quite as intricate, I suppose, as the others. Though I do like it. I think it's a good, simple tank. I think this is a good, perfect example of a 5. This is the middle of the road. This is the average. You haven't built something horrifying. You've built something decent, but not something amazingly impressive. Because, you know, there's just not a ton of stuff going on to make it very intricate. But you modeled it after a real-life tank, and that's quite cool. And I think that tank would look really good in real life. So I'll give it a 5. Jupiter. It's just a little tank for my single, rude betta fish. My inspiration was nothing concrete. I just went with what my gut told me would be nice. That's pretty much all I ever do as well. Well, they have the Smarter Everyday logo in there. Use the dragon statue as well. I do love these sideways potted plants. This is the weird exception, actually. I think this is the only artificial thing that my brain ever finds to be aesthetically appealing in a fish tank, is when people put those sideways pots in there. This part is really cool. I think maybe without the dragon, with the grass here, the little driftwood piece coming out of a mossy bottom. If you did this for a whole tank, the whole tank had a mossy bottom and little driftwood trees, this is acting like a tree. Have little driftwood trees coming out of it and then a thick vegetated grass forest in the background. Okay, this tank is not the perfect tank that I'm looking for, but it has given me some wonderful ideas. A tank where the entire substrate is sort of this grassy, mossy thing here with trees coming out of it. That's a wonderful idea, and I think I might build it, a dead forest tank. That's a good idea. Anyways, that's not what you built here. But I do like your tank. I think I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to have to start being a little bit quicker with my reasons here, because I will run out of ability to breathe, ability to speak. Chili. I wanted my tank to be themed around a Japanese-style cherry blossom forest filled with massive mushrooms and buried pagodas. Well, that is a big promise. That sounds incredible. Oh my gosh. Holy, how? How did you... Okay, that is a very artistic screenshot. Is there a more wide screenshot so I can get an idea? Bro. How? Oh, it's pink. It's pink sand just littered with the mushrooms. Shout out to A Shell in the Pit for making the mushroom color the same as the sand color so that they don't contrast. That would have been very annoying. This does look straight out of Zelda. If a Mario level were a fish tank. Wow, this is incredible. There's a statue of a warrior guy on a bridge over the pink mountain in the mushroom forest. Where did you get some of this stuff? I have never seen. There's a statue of a rat with a saber in the game. I've never seen that. I really wish. I want there to be like an overall tank shot. I mean, listen, that is gorgeous. I would have loved like a zoomed out tank shot. I think that would have been so I could actually get a good idea. Hey, I love the rat with the saber. That's awesome. That's actually one of my favorite parts about the tank. Wow, this is quite cool. I'm having trouble determining if this tops the other tank. I think it might, right? How big is the tank? It's not that big. Look how much space this discus takes up. It can't be that big, right? I do wish it had more plants. Well, unfortunately, there aren't a ton of pink plants, and I think this person wanted everything to be on theme with the pink. They really took my Barbie tank idea to the max. I think this might top the other tank, the tank that got a 9, solely because it's incredibly detailed, intricate, well organized, but it also is themed, whereas the other tank was sort of like a real-life tank. This tank feels... I don't know, feels themed. It's a cool idea. This is something that would be near impossible to execute in real life. And that's what's so cool about the fact that we can do this in a video game. I'm going to give this a 9.1. I think that this is currently in first place. Dino Nugget. I don't really have an inspiration for these tanks. Both are well planted enough. The only maintenance needed is just feeding the fish. Also, I would love to have inverts and amphibians added to the game. I do think inverts would be quite cool. Amphibians seem a bit difficult, but driftwood, rocks, plants, and a black substrate. I am a sucker for black substrate. If you guys ever keep fish in real life, black substrate is the best way to make the fish pop. In my experience, keeping native fish will really show the best of their color when they're on black substrate. So I do love black substrate. The sand is a bit flat, which isn't necessarily a problem. That can always be a design choice to have a flat sand here. I think everything feels a bit disorganized, if that makes sense. Like throw the rock there, throw the plant there, throw the driftwood there. It's not unappealing. That's the impressive thing. What's crazy about this is probably going to get the lowest rating thus far, and it's still an aesthetically appealing tank. Like if I saw this in real life, I would still be like, wow, you are good at aquascaping, right? Like this is a nice tank. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. Yeah, it's not bad. Like I haven't seen someone intentionally, actually, I don't know if any of you guys watched RT Game play this game. If any of you watched RT Game on YouTube, he purposefully made the worst tank he could. That would be a bad tank. Though honestly, for the creativity, it might even be funny. Yeah, I think I'll give this a 4.5. Oh, I like this tank actually better. I like the green and red. Okay, if we're going with this tank, I like the little overhang that you made here with the rocks. I'll give this tank a 5. I'll give this tank a 5. Catlin, aka Little Cow. Sorry, Lil Cow. Is that your rapper name? Describe your tank. The Dragon. I was going for a craggy, somewhat natural look with both empty space and lush greenery for this 40-gallon, perhaps at times capturing the essence of a dragon. I chose a single-species guppy tank to focus on the above-the-rim aquascape while still providing pops of color. Okay, this person is describing their tank like they're describing a fine wine at a snooty, rich establishment. It'd be really funny if it wasn't good. Unfortunately, it is good. I do love this sloped skateboard ramp tank. This driftwood is kind of cool, the way it like comes out with like the grabby. Yeah, they're the Pablo Picasso. This is the Vincent van Gogh of fish tanks. The description is very poetic. As the screenshot angles are quite artistic as well. This person is not taking a straight-on screenshot. I do love the guppy grouping. I did say before, my criticism, I gave that other tank a 7, where I said that they had the driftwood, they had the rocks, and they had the plants in the open space, but it all kind of felt separated. This is that open center space that I like, but with the outsides actually combined, the driftwood interwoven with the rocks, interwoven with the plants. So I do like this. I would give this, I'll say that's an upgrade because of that, because of the organization. I'll give this tank a 7.5. I don't think it's crazy creative, but it is intricate and it is well done. All right, Lady Faye. I don't know anything about fish keeping in real life, so even submitting this was wildly intimidating. I just wanted to make something that looked good, with some fishes that I could keep happy, even if realistically this setup wouldn't work for them. That's fair. That is the whole point of doing it in a video game rather than in real life. I like making cool caves for my virtual fish. First one I did was on a larger scale and quickly got out of hand. I wanted to make a smaller, more controlled version for the submission. If 2 submissions are allowed, I'm probably going to submit the large one as well. If not, ignore it. Alright, well, we'll see. Based on your first tank. Okay, well, this is... Did Google break, or the image is not loading? No! Oh, that image loaded. Well, I guess we're going to judge your large tank, because that's... What? Is this hatchet fish? I forget what... Isn't this a hatchet fish? Those are in the game? I've never seen that. Oh my gosh, that's the only image that's loading. Unfortunately, I think Faith may not have finished uploading the other images. Oh, wait, or is it on my end? Oh, African butterfly fish. Yes, yes, yes. You're correct. Well, I think unfortunately either Google's messing up or her submissions are messing up, which is unfortunate. But I can, from the side of this tank, I can get a pretty good assessment. I can see that the tank is sloped. That's pretty good. I like the plant life at the top. I love these fish. I didn't even know they were in the game, so that's quite cool. I like this cave is pretty cool. This is definitely a bunch of different rocks woven together, somewhat intricate here. I will give this tank a 6. I am sorry that I can't see the rest of your images. Let me try one more time. Oh, it worked. Never mind. I can see your images. All right, I'll upgrade it to a 6.5. Given the front view, I do like the organization. I'd say this is a 6.5. My name is Claire, but if I won, I would like the name to be Stinky Dort after my cat. Wow, very valiant, getting a fish named after your cat. A 325-gallon tank. You can get a 320... I did not know. This is crazy. All right. Heavily planted with light wood hardscaping, home to 8 angelfish and 3 red turquoise discus. Tank of my dreams, what I would recreate if I had the time and money in real life. And that is one of the cool things about Fish Game, is just build your perfect tank in real life. Because it's unlikely that you're going to be able to build what you want perfectly in real life. And even if you can, it's probably not going to turn out exactly as you expected it. Being able to do it in a video game is pretty cool. Wow, that is a lot of plants. I do like it. Really fills the space very well, the amount of plants. I wish these plants were slightly thicker, I guess. So maybe a different choice of plant. But I do love how well they fill the space with their verticality. The fish are very pretty. I do think the discus, the colors kind of contrast, like light blue, a purple, a pink, a white. The colors don't exactly go together. I guess it's like a bubblegum-ish theme, but then on the green and brown. Actually, maybe that's what's throwing me off. Maybe it's the brown substrate. I think it makes sense as like a wild with vegetation type of thing, but I think brown and green and blue and pink and purple is a not exactly a color palette that is particularly appealing on average. But the tank itself is extremely intricate. I mean, like, look at like all the individual spottings here of the mossy bottom. I don't know what this plant's actually called. It's extremely intricate. So I am very impressed with that. I will give this tank a 7.5 for the design. I think the design is incredibly intricate. I think the color contrasting is a bit hard, like pink and brown is a bit hard to get over. So I'm going to give it a 7.5. Bob, and sure, why not? I was watching Lion King and, well, you can see it. Oh, that's a very promising description. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, this person recreated the Lion King area in Fish Game. Okay. I will say that the big clumps of same species plant life on either side, it feels a bit lazy for the middle of the tank being so incredible and intricate. But this is quite cool. I love the cliffside here and everything where the betrayal sorry to spoil Lion King, though it's been like 2 decades now, so if you haven't seen it yet, I would hope you're not avoiding spoilers. Yeah, this is impressive. I feel like if you had continued the theme of the middle of the tank here, this would have been an 8, probably. But the vegetation on the sides is just kind of lazy. Being like, oh, there's a little extra space there, I don't know what to do with it. Just throw a forest over there, you know? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it adds to the tank and kind of brings it together. I think the fact that they're asymmetrical and it's all the same species, I think that'll bring it down to a 7.5 for me. I think if you had really continued this theme from end to end in the tank, it would have looked really, really cool. But it does look cool anyways. All right, Ben, Amazon shallows / natural / my ideal tank. Whoa. Wow. That is a lot of vegetation. I would call this tank the computer lagger. I'm pretty sure this tank would crash my computer like every time I go to the jungle store in Fish Game. That is a lot of vegetation. I do like the Smarter Everyday logo in the middle. It's kind of funny. The Smarter Everyday is not the YouTuber reviewing your tank here, but that's okay. I like Smarter Everyday. Oh, whoops. No, I don't want to comment on it. Actually, I do want to comment on it. Lol. It's a very nice tank. I like the vegetation. It's kind of overloaded with vegetation, if that makes sense. There's a lot going on, which adds like a nice layering, I suppose, in the tank. And I really do like this plant on the bottom here. I wish I had found this for one of my tanks. I think it would have looked quite cool. I think I'm going to give this tank a 7. I think it's hard to go wrong with a ton of plant life, but I don't think you're getting an amazing creative, idea with just throwing in a ton of plant life. I do like the black background, though. That's true. I loved the pagoda and dragon aesthetic from Megan, and I did a yin-yang thing with the angelfish, but overall tried to keep it as natural as possible. Well, I like that idea. Okay. That's very pretty. I like the way that you stack the stones here and then use this decoration. Okay. So this is the tank overall. So you've definitely got that theme. You've got the dragon. Is there a black angelfish and a white angelfish? Is that why you said you've got the yin-yang thing going on? I really like the way this stone builds up to this here. The plant life is quite cool. I like the grass being interwoven with, with the rocks here. No driftwood, but that's reasonable. I do like the dragon. This is something that I've realized. I didn't do this when I was playing the game, but having the tank sort of come out of the water is quite cool. It's not something that I did, and this is giving me a lot of ideas. This is making me want to play Fish Game because I feel like I have a ton of new ideas. Oh my gosh, I want to make like a rock overhang along the edges. Whatever. Anyways, I didn't really do much with stuff popping out of the tank, so I think that's quite cool. This particular grass doesn't do it for me. It's just like jagged and grouped, and then the edges are kind of rough. And then this plant here feels a bit like this grouping of plants here feels a bit messy. But I do quite like the tank overall. So I think I will give the tank a 7. A lot of things are landing in the 7 range. It's because I'm getting a lot of good submissions. They're not like amazingly intricate and creative, but they're good tanks. It's hard to argue against that. Nonus. It's a very simple plant tank with some hardscape in it. I've always dreamed of having discus on my own, but I simply don't have the space. The vibrant fish bring a nice pop to the otherwise blended background that is the rest of the tank. Would love to see more variations later in time. As expected, pretty simple. I think these stalks of plants don't look very good. They don't add a ton of depth, and that might be the fault of the plant rather than the fault of how it's necessarily organized, but it looks like Marge Simpson hair, if that makes sense. It just like comes out of nowhere. It doesn't feel like it blends into anything else or is like woven in with any other pieces. This here I really like. I do like sort of the mixture of like you got the moss and the grass and the driftwood and this rock. I really like this rock, and this rock being led against another one. Yes, this looks like my chatters standing in a crowd. This looks like Pluto in a crowd. It just sticks out a little bit, I'll give it a 6.5. Name, Jacob. If I win, I would like to see a native New York fish in the game. Oh, that's interesting. Like a brook trout, bluegill, yellow perch, and northern hogsucker. Well, I don't know if it's confirmed if I'm allowed to say anything, but I believe that there may be a native fish being added to the game. My tank was a new concept. I was trying a natural stream-like environment with more dull species to make them blend in more. Okay, that's quite cool. All right, yeah, that's a stream. That looks like a typical stream tank where you would have like a filter that's creating a flow sideways along the tank. They actually make filters specifically for that purpose. Looks like a typical stream tank. You've got a vegetated area, a rocky area, sort of like a riffle equivalent. I do think this just glob of vegetation on the left feels a little bit lazy. This one also, I think, could be more diverse. You don't have to just use one plant. In real life, that's not usually what happens, unless it's an invasive plant. In a real stream, the vegetated areas are usually a mix of a bunch of different species. Unless you have an invasive plant in there, and then they tend to overtake everything else, and that's why invasive plants suck. But I think you can definitely add more diversity in the plant life. I do like the idea of a stream tank, though. I will give this a 6. Rose. I don't quite have an inspiration. It's simply a 650-gallon tank. You can do that? With hiding spots for the fish, as well as the right stuff for the plant life within. The centerpiece is a tree with a cave attached to it, as well as a crack in it. My pea puffer claimed the centerpiece as his territory, and no other fish dare approach it. Oh my gosh, this looks intricate. 650 gallons? You've got an arowana? You can get an arowana? Oh my gosh. Is there an overall? There better be an overall picture of the tank. I need to see the tank from the front. Okay, I'm a little sad that you didn't give me an overall tank, but I'm a little sad that I didn't get like an overall look at, like, my best look at the tank overall is this, which isn't not the best to review. You just sort of screenshot it in individual sections, but that that last pick would be a killer emote. This should be an emote on my Twitch. This is so funny. Okay. Anyways, I think the tank looks nice. It's massive, and you have a ton of stuff in it, so I guess it's hard to not look nice. I can't really review the tank as a whole because you didn't give me a picture of the whole thing. But, yeah, that's pretty good. All right. I'll give that a 7. That is, just trying a 650-gallon tank is impressive. Papaya, my dream planted tank. 1,000 gallon? Is there a limit? I thought that, what? I was only able to select up to 50 gallons. This person has a 1,000 gallon tank? You've got to be kidding me. What? Oh my gosh. What? What? Holy. That's insane. This is gorgeous. Oh my. With the grass, and then I'm trying to like break this down in my head to talk about it. You've got the grass patch in the front with the beautiful sort of rocky structure going around in an arc form. There's driftwood coming out of that and lots of plants coming out from behind it. I don't know if I love the blue background, but the vegetation on the surface is beautiful. It might be a bit overstocked. I think that is a lot. I mean, again, it's 1,000 gallons. It still feels like a lot of discuses, but I could, you know, it is a game after all, so who knows the validity of that criticism. Even the attention to detail to have the moss on like the edge of the rocks here on each side. Whoops, stop. The moss on the edge of the rocks on each side is quite cool. This is crazy. I did not know that there were 1,000 gallon tanks. This is so ridiculously large. The thing is, though, the only criticism that I have is it's large, but it's not particularly intricate. Like the large tanks we've been seeing have a lot of different things going on. This has like a clear 3-layered structure, and it's very beautiful, but I don't think it's more creative than the Pagoda tank. I don't mind the messiness, so to speak, but I mean, this is a lot of like open, what feels like unused space. It's aesthetically appealing, but I don't think it's the most creative, and I really want to reward the most creative submission, because the point of having a video game where you can do anything you want with it is to come up with something crazy, you know, to be creative. Aesthetically, I think this might be tied for the best tank. I really like the Pagoda tank. I think this is tied for the best tank so far aesthetically, but because it's not as creative, I think I'll give this second place. I'm going to give this a 9.05. Collapsix. I like tall tanks as I'm more of a plant lover than a fish lover, and tall plants that dominate over hardscapes just look super cool to me. Fair enough. Ooh, I really like this. I didn't know that you had this sort of tank shape that you could work with. Oh, I really like this type of taller than wide tank with the tall plants and everything. That looks quite nice. That's very, and I love these rock. Are these rock structures, do they come like this, or is this person stacking multiple structures? I'm going to guess that these stones come like this, because they are like really, really intricate. It would be very impressive if not, but I think these stones come like this. I do like them in a design. I've seen them in multiple tanks now, and I've liked it every time. Okay, they're pagoda stones. They come like that. All right. I think I've liked it every time. I do seem to have a soft spot for those tanks, those rocks. I mean, I'll call it a 7. It's a good tank. It's not amazing. You know, it's not particularly amazingly creative to where I feel like I have to go above that. Snasta Blasta, wonderful name by the way. Sunken forest in a pond. Saw that the game had different variations of bass and other large fish. Wanted to make a habitat for them that isn't a super confined tank. Due to not finding hardscape pieces big enough, stacked them together the best I could for a tree as the center focal point. There's a lot of fish in the tank. Okay, this looks like it's going to be a big one. Oh my, it's a big one, all right. Oh, there are peacock bass. Is that what that is? Peacock bass? I did not know that that was in the game. Oh my gosh, there's even little intricate parts within the driftwood that there are tiny fish existing within. This tank is massive. That's an Oscar. Look how dwarfed this Oscar looks by this plant in the tank. Little cave there. Did this person take an overall screenshot of the tank? I mean, yeah, this is it, I guess. My pet peeve so far has been people who don't take an overall picture of the tank, so I can't get an overall vibe of it. It would have been nice also to know how many gallons. But I will say, I think overall, at least from this perspective, it's a little disorganized, but in that way, it feels very natural. Like, this feels like what the bottom of a real lake would look like. So in a way, it does feel very nice and natural. But the disorganization does throw me off a little bit aesthetically, I have to say. I still think this is a 7 just because of how large and intricate it is, but I don't think I can go any higher than that. Don Levy, it's my betta's name. My tank's set up like it's in the middle of a secluded forest with a clearing for the hut and a bridge going over a river to the hut. Okay, that's interesting. An underwater river. Ooh. Oh, I really like how you did that with the moss here to make a little river. And look, he's crossing the bridge. I mean, you might have clicked and dragged him to put him there, but it is very cute that he's crossing the bridge. Yes, this is a very pretty but simple tank. I like this conceptually. It looks like the beginning of a lot of animes, where you've got like the little bridge over the river and then this. Very funny. Very cute. I like the way that they have some driftwood here, that they put some plants on the driftwood to make them look tree-like. Like, this isn't a singular piece. This is a piece of driftwood that they put some plants on to make it look very driftwoody. And I think the red betta is also a good choice. I think that fits in well aesthetically. I think this is a 7. I know I'm giving a lot of things 7s. That's sort of becoming my average, but there are a lot of good tanks. All right, marks. My tank is a 650-gallon arowana tank. It's heavily planted, and though it may only have one arowana in it at the moment, I may add other tank mates at some point. All right. Whoa. Okay, 650-gallon tank. I will say, of the large tanks I've seen, this one feels the most empty. Is this supposed to be a filter? If so, that's kind of funny. I don't think I've ever seen someone use a piece to indicate like a filter or a heater or something in the tank. I like the bridge over the little center here. This is something I've now seen a few people do that I think is quite cute. Yeah, I do like the little trench in the center with the filter going, or the bridge going over it. Oh, the chest is cool, and the arowana seems to like it as well. All right, I do like this tank. I think it feels the most empty of the large tanks that I've looked at so far, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can have an aesthetically appealing tank that is physically empty. But I think that I would like to see either more organization, more of a theme, or more space filled up, really. Especially because in the form here, you did say it was heavily planted. I don't think, in comparison to some of the other stuff we've seen today, I don't know if I'd call that heavily planted. I'm going to give that a 6.5. Cookie Kid, primarily hardscape betta tank with one red pata. Okay. It's about, it's about as simple as it gets. It's a pretty small tank. You got some driftwood. I didn't know you could get bubbles on the glass. You got some driftwood here that doesn't fully go in the sand. Create some hiding space for your betta. This is a very simple, standard tank. The driftwood is a cool shape in the way they've combined it. I think this is a 5 and move on. It's nice. It's simple. It's not particularly intricate or creative. Well done for what you were going for, but we're looking for So from Connor, it's a small desktop cube tank. Had a couple betta I had a couple years back. So this is replicating a tank that someone actually had, which is a concept that I like. Either replicating a tank that you already had or a tank that you're hoping to have in the future. I think that's very cool. I think you can definitely get more creative than that because it is a video game. But at the end of the day, it's an aquarium simulator type of thing. So it's very reasonable to base it off of real life things. I see your other fish likes to swim in the vegetation here. I don't love big clumps of one species vegetation. I think I'm recognizing that now, is that when you just take one species of plant and just throw it together in a giant group, it just looks kind of monotonous. I think if you just weave in a couple extra species of plant in there. I mean, there's plenty in the game. You could make a really cool thing that like has a high to low appeal and maybe a few different colors. Yeah, I think this is a 6 though. I think it's more intricate than the last. Spooks McPoots. Okay. Fantasy journey through a forest guarded by angelfish. Then over a river made of jade, surrounded by a flock of bright fish. Finally, up a mountain to a series of temples situated above a mushroom cave. My only inspiration was trying to get it good looking before a memory leak reset my progress. Alright. Whoa! Okay. Well, it's an adventure, alright. Oh my gosh, look at this. Someone used one of the light blue stones to indicate a river. So this stone is acting like a river. So rather than just having a divot that the bridge goes over, this actually looks like a river. There's even river banks made with the rocks here. The left side, I don't know if I love the left side. If the substrate went up here, but like the space under it makes this feel very jagged. Does that make sense? Like this just feels very jagged, the underside here. I think if the substrate went up or there was more rock all the way down, which I realize would be a lot of rock, it would look cool. Yeah, you got the mushrooms. Those are quite nice. The cliffs are quite cool. Wow, the perspective of the bridge taking me on the adventure. There's the bridge right over the... Wow, and the fish, I will say, go very well. The schooling fish over the bridge and everything looks really cool, the way they're suspended. Yeah, I can see why your game might have crashed. You've got a lot of stuff in a tank here. If you don't have a very well-functioning PC, I can see why your game might have crashed. This is very impressive. I don't think it's better than the... I think this is currently in 3rd place, which is ridiculous because 3rd place is a 9, 2nd place is a 9.05, and 1st place is a 9.1. So this is a 9.025. We're getting very technical because I want to insert these in certain places. Johan. I used to use a sand other than natural tones to mix up my usual earthy style. I decided white and light greens would best frame the vibrant colors of a betta fish. Makes sense. That's a very simple tank. I think that's a 5. 5 and we move on. Not much to say about it. Vegetated sand. No, the first was a 9, not a 9.5. Pluto. Juju Bean. All right. This is a certified AVNJ viewer. The rest of these names I have not recognized. I think most of them are people who play Fish Game, but Juju Bean is absolutely an AVNJ viewer. May she make us all proud. Gizmo the Betta, plenty of hiding spaces and open space to explore. All right, Juju, what do you got? Juju, why did you take a sideways phone photo of your? Oh my god, there's a screenshot function literally built into the game, Juju. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, well, we'll just all tilt our heads. No, it's fine. No, this is what she wanted. It's okay. I'll just tilt my head. I mean, the tank is very nice. I like the vegetation, the way it's built into the rocks. I do like this little driftwood piece here. Listen, it's a nice tank. Unfortunately, it's sideways. And you've taken a screenshot of a screenshot. Actually, yeah, you did take a screen. You took a screenshot from in the game. This isn't even the game itself. You took a screenshot from in the game and then pointed your phone at the monitor and took a picture of that. This is a 2-layer deep screen. It's not important. It's not important. I'll give it a 7 because it's a nice tank. Lizard God. Just to pick off Pinterest. I don't have the means to set up a fish tank again, and I have missed having my betta buddies, so I wanted to set up just a small dream tank. Made like 5 different tanks to get the right feel, and I hope everyone enjoys. Ooh, okay, that's pretty. So you saw this idea on Pinterest and decided to actualize it in the game. That's quite cool. It is quite cool. I do love the driftwood on the back, and this hole in the driftwood, I don't know how you really did that. I guess just combining a bunch of conveniently shaped driftwood to create this back hole and then put some vegetation in it. That looks quite cool, I will admit. This feels a little out of place. I think maybe there was a better object to use there. I do love the bottom substrate here where you've got like the rock blending into the brown bottom, blending into the vegetation. This is a really nice one, actually. Usually I think the simple tanks are likely to get lower scores, but of the simple tanks I've seen, I think this is the best one. Yeah, for a small tank, it's very, very well done. I think I give this an 8. I really do love this driftwood circle here. This like kind of design I think if it was used more often in some of these tanks, like that level of intricacy, we'd see some really awesome tanks. Definitely the best small tank so far. George, I think trees are pretty, and I like the idea of an underwater tree. It looked really pretty in the game, and I wanted to share. Okay. An underwater tree. Whoa! What? You can do that? I didn't even know that there were tanks that are this tall. Holy crap. This person just combined a ton of driftwood and plants. Oh, these are all different pieces of driftwood combined, right? This isn't one giant piece of driftwood. This is a ton of... Wow. That is crazy. See, this is what I mean by creativity. This person took a unique idea and made it really, really well. Like, this is incredibly well executed. Even the plant that they chose to use for the leaves looks really good. Now the question is, do I like this better than the themed tank that's currently in first place? I feel like I might. I think this is like a simple theme and idea that is just executed so well. Everything about this, like, I don't have a criticism. Like, I'm not like, oh, you could have done this, or you could, I don't know. I can't think of anything. The driftwood even comes slightly out of the water, which is a beautiful, oh my gosh. I think because they took a theme, they stuck to it, and they made it so well that I can't even come up with a single critique of it. I think this is in first place. I think this is a 9.2. This is currently in first place. Wow, who would have thought? All right, we have six submissions to go. Will anybody dethrone the tree? Sammy Hammy. This is my Bly Manor tank. I was watching The Haunting of Bly Manor, was inspired by the ending of the show while making it. Okay, so this one is based on a show. Okay, fair enough. Got the skulls and everything dug into the ground. Driftwood, or not drift. Yeah, there's driftwood. I do like these driftwoods. This one is kind of just floating, but I do like the way that they're being used as like trees, sort of like the dead tree spooky vibe. I get what you're going for. I think the green does kind of offset the spooky vibes, and there probably should be more of these guys because they have a nice black and white coming here. These guys kind of throw it off a bit. I do like the idea of like a spooky Halloween tank. That would have been a cool submission, assuming none of the last 6 submissions did that. I'll give this a 7. Hez, my inspiration was just to create a big, beautiful tank for goldfish to give them some love. In memory of my first fish, a goldfish named Fred. Rip Fred. Ooh, you've done a great job. That is a very pretty goldfish tank. I love the back layer of vegetation. I wish it was a little thicker along the black glass. The goldfish are obviously pretty. I like this. You've got the multiple pots, clay pot sizes that are sort of stacked up here to create areas which the goldfish can swim through. But if you've ever had a goldfish, you know not get stuck in is an important feature of a goldfish thing because they do love to just stick themselves in whatever they can. So I think, yeah, this is very well done for a goldfish tank. Not particularly amazed, but I think it's very good. I think I'll give it a 7.5. Roxy, but I would like the name to be Heka after a friend. I enjoyed the maple leaf stones and wanted to create a tank which features a cave made from them. Okay, that is a very pretty idea. You've got the sort of what we're recognizing has happened a couple times now, the skateboard ramp tank, where we've got the red sand. This seems to be a pretty big tank based on how small that decoration looks. Or maybe it's just an average size. I have a very bad concept of spatiality in the game right now. Yeah, the red sand is cool. I don't know if it goes the best with it. I think it goes well with the rocks, but then these pink plants kind of conflict with the red sand. I do like this center structure, though. These are a little distracting. I think it could have done without these. And also the whole monoculture on the sides of the same plant species, you know, could use more diversity. I'll give it a 7. Fish Stick. This is Fish Stick. He always feels a bit stressed because he is all alone, but Fish Stick is still happy as he is surrounded by life, and life is beautiful. Oh my gosh, there's a video. Okay. Why is the music creepy? Okay. The music makes me feel like I'm being threatened by Fish Stick, not, being voting for fish stick. I kind of feel like fish stick is threatening me. But yeah, that is a really cool design. I love the giant tree, and I guess you have the Smarter Everyday logo inside the tree so that you're getting these sort of like red lava effect coming through the holes in the driftwood. I don't necessarily love the plant choice on top here. This is very well done. The video is very well done. I love the red. This is such a good idea. Having small holes in the driftwood and then having the glowing thing come through that. And then these, like, what are these? I've never even... Are these bottoms of pieces of driftwood that are acting like sort of like boneyards? Very cool. And then, of course, having a fish that has an identity that everyone can stick to. That being Fish Stick the fish. This was very well done. Yeah, I'm very impressed by the video. I don't think this can top the vertical tree tank, but the effort put into the video is very good. The tree is very cool. I love the idea of the glowing within the tree. And yes, the editing slays. Also, vote for Fish Stick. I think I will give this a 9. Thaw Days. Jungly themed community tank with some different shoalers. Alright. Oh, this one also has a video. Why did the last few people submit videos? Hopefully this is copyright free. I do love the use of the stones here. Those little stacked stones are very cool. This must be a gigantic tank, and my gosh, that is a lot of fish. The cinematic is very cool as well. Yeah, it is a bit overcrowded as far as fish go, but that is the advantage of a video game. Well, the video editing is very nice. I think this tank is very aesthetically appealing. Yeah, there are credits. The fish that are involved. I like everything going on here. Yes, the actors involved in the video. I do think it's slightly overcrowded, but that is the advantage of playing a video game, is you don't have to worry about something like that. Quite nice. I will give that tank... I would give the tank an 8, I think. But because of the effort put into the video, I think I will give it a 8.5 overall. Fishopedia. Now that's a name I recognize. This is someone who I've interacted with on iNaturalist identifying fish, and I think they showed up for the first time in stream today. It is a what tank? 3,304 gallon tank? Is this a mod? Can you do that in normal fish game? And it's just plants? You have 33... That is the biggest tank possible with the custom tank tool. So this person absolutely maxed out the game. Got the largest possible tank that they could. 3,300 gallon. Oh, damn. He breaking his back. For a 3,300 gallon tank, I would expect a bit more intricacy? Diversity? I feel like you just took every plant the game had to offer and threw them into a giant field. 3,300 gallons on its own is impressive. Honestly, the most impressive part about this is the fact that your computer can run this tank. My computer would crash with the amount of plants that are in this. But yeah, there's a lot of dead space along the edges and the top, and it's very just mono green. There's like hints of color in there, and it's mostly the fish. There's a little bit of hardscaping. I do see that, but yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a 7 just for the impressiveness of the size. My computer lags every time I load it. I would think so. Our last submission of the day. The only chance left to dethrone the driftwood or the tree tank, the vertical tree tank. And their description: I saw pretty rock, so I used pretty rock and got very carried away. Okay, chat. What are we thinking of Egg's chances of dethroning the tree? They saw pretty rock, so they used the pretty rock. I don't know. Sounds like they might be an expert tank builder. Okay. Congratulations to the tree. This is a very pretty rock, and I think you did make a pretty tank here. And I will give you a 6 for the culture. But, George, congratulations, George, for winning the contest. I believe the result of this, George, is that your name will be in Fish Game. There will by default be some fish at the stores who are named George. So congratulations. This is an incredible tank and an incredible design. I love that, like, it's not something insane. You didn't have to come up with some crazy idea. You just took something that is, like, a very simple concept and made it absolutely gorgeous. That is just incredibly well done. Congratulations, George. I don't know that you're here right now in chat. I doubt it, but great job. All right. That will be it for the fish game stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed. The game is really cool, and it's cool to see what people can do with it. I enjoyed looking at everyone's tanks. I hope in the coming weeks and months people make even cooler stuff, and I look forward to seeing it. I have a lot of ideas myself. I don't necessarily have the time to execute them right now, but I have a lot of ideas myself. Yeah, that's going to be it for today's stream. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and congratulations to George. Also, vote for Fish Stick. Vote for Pedro. Okay, bye.